If you guys enjoy this content, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel, as it would help me out a lot and I would greatly appreciate it. If you would like access to more daily content from myself, please feel free to check out my Twitter feed and Telegram channel. Those links will also be in the description. Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick video to share my current views on Bitcoin. As we know, price broke an all-time high this weekend, smashing through the 60k mark. But a bloody Monday has followed, and we're currently, at the time of recording at least, trading at around 56, 57k, that kind of area. So I want to look at what this pullback means, how we could potentially play it on different time frames, such as the 4-hour and the daily. And I also want to take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart and what this may mean for the rest of the market. So where I'm going to start is with the 4-hour chart. So this chart may look familiar to a couple of you who are watching this. I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. So over the weekend I tweeted out this chart where I was looking around the 56.5 to 58.5k area to load up in terms of spot position. So the reason for this originally was because I expected price to chop up previous all-time highs. I thought that was kind of too much of an obvious play for people, so I was expecting some chop, some quick liquidations on the high leverage players out there, but it shows that today has actually fell a little bit deeper than I actually expected. So we've actually sunk straight through them levels with a 4-hour close below. Does this invalidate kind of my idea? Some people would argue yes, if they're trading this quite aggressively. But I mentioned that my invalidation level was below 54k, and I'm going to explain why here. So what I was looking at originally was this kind of price action here where it was flipped. We've seen that price was resistance around there, then became support. So straight away I'm kind of looking at that price action as a decent flip and an invalidation level if we lose that. So I'm playing it a little bit more conservatively. I'm giving myself a little bit more leeway, I suppose. And the reason for this is just because of how choppy the market's been. I don't want my stops to be too tight, because it is very easy to be stopped out with the wicks that we've been seeing recently. And as much as I've done this, of course, you need to take your risk reward into play. So, if you don't see price moving much higher than the all-time highs at 62k, 61.6k, that kind of area, then the risk reward there isn't great. But I do expect us to move towards new highs around 68 to 70k in the next few weeks. So that's part of the reason for that. I was also looking at this trend here, which hasn't been tapped for a little while, and although price hasn't quite got there yet, I was looking at this potentially to hold as support and to give a little bit of confluence to this level over the next couple of days. So that was my reason for that 54k mention. But I'm also going to take a look at what this means on the daily time frame, as a lot of you will be aware that I am more commonly a high time frame trader. Okay, so now looking at the daily time frame, and one thing we was all looking for, and we mentioned in previous videos, was originally we was looking at 40k potentially becoming the level to retest as support, as that was the old all-time high, and then we could actually retest that as support and move on to new highs. It looks like price actually front ran that level. We hit around 43k, which was in line with this candle and level of support here. And that's where we kind of made a higher time frame low on the daily time frame at least. So more recently we was looking at this 58k high, which I'll mark out now, and it was resistance for a few days. Price finally broke that, looked really strong over the weekend, but unfortunately now price is chopping up that level, and I can imagine, as mentioned earlier, a few people have been liquidated, stopped out, and now it's really what to look for next. So although it doesn't look great in terms of this level not holding as a clean level of support, still a long way till the daily close. But one level that really catches my eye is this 52k kind of area. And the reason I say this is because we've got this cluster of price action, but then we've also seen this level retested as resistance a number of times. So what we could see now potentially is price head down to this 52k level, maybe even fake below it, reclaim the level and continue upwards to new highs. This really wouldn't be a concern to me. If we made a new low at around 52k on the back of this 43k low, although a $10,000 retracement probably doesn't sound great in terms of the daily structure, looking at the chart, it really wouldn't be a huge concern. So that's a level that's definitely caught my eye on the daily time frame. One thing to bear in mind is Bitcoin does like to go higher than everyone expects and lower than everyone expects. So it could be that it isn't the most clean of retests. Like I said, we could chop below the level. We may even front run it slightly, as we did here. So just bear that in mind. But as a benchmark, I think 52k could be a decent area to look at if we close the day below the previous all-time highs. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I wanted to take a quick look at the Bitcoin Dominance chart, and this is actually on the weekly time frame. There's some really clean levels to work with, and this has impacted my trading over the last 6 months especially. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I started to scale into alts on this rejection here at 70% on the Bitcoin Dominance chart, which worked out pretty well as that was around Christmas time. And since then, we've seen price lose this level here. So, we've seen a level of support. It became resistance. It was reclaimed before the next leg up. And now price is really, really struggling. I say price. Dominance is really, really struggling to reclaim this level now. So we've seen huge wicks above the level, but we've always seen the weekly close just below. And as a rule of thumb right now, what I'm looking at is if this level gets reclaimed on the weekly time frame, so if we actually see something like this, and I'll change that to a clearer color. If we see something like that on the weekly time frame, that is where I would be, looking to scale back into more Bitcoin exposure. So I've got a fair bit of altcoin exposure right now, but this is something that would probably scare me a little bit, and I would want to start looking at moving more funds of mine into Bitcoin. However, until that level is reclaimed, I'm not overly confident that it will be, with the sheer amount of alts and the hype around alts, NFTs, DeFi right now. So I respect that this level is getting weaker the more it is being tested, but until it's actually reclaimed, until we see that level become support again, I'm still looking originally at my plan of alts, Bitcoin Dominance moving to 55%, that kind of area, and alts having more room to run really in the process. So that's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin Dominance. Until we see that level reclaim, nothing changes, and I'm still hopeful that we can see alts move further. So just to recap really, lower time frames are choppy right now. Please be careful if you're trying to actively trade Bitcoin on them lower time frames. 52k retest would be clean on the daily time frame. Anything above 43k will be considered a higher low on a macro view, and Bitcoin Dominance below 62% is still bullish for alts. So they're the kind of key takeaways for me in this video. I think it is fair to say that this is just another minor pullback in the grand scheme of things, and not the first time this year that we've been reminded of this. So, please do not panic just yet. Make sure you're super clear with your strategy, super clear with your invalidation levels, and just play it level by level. Just a quick video today really. Hope it was useful, hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you did in the comments. Please like the video, as that would be super helpful for me and my YouTube channel that I'm trying to grow. And I will be back with another video later this week. Cheers.